also. Okay. Okay, so this is meeting number 2. Let's go ahead and move on through this. How to stay in touch with us. I thought about putting this at the end, but I better put it at the beginning. I don't want to make this session an infomercial, but I do want to let you know how to get a hold of us. We consider ourselves, and I'm just trying to give you the facts, parents. A lot of you is your first meeting with me. I appreciate all of you. But we're probably the premier or number one college admissions access support program as a nonprofit and certainly faith-based in Los Angeles. We've been doing this in Southern California. We've been doing this for in some form for over close to 25 years. I've helped about 2,000 students go to college most affordably. As I got smarter, I learned how to do that. But we know the ins and outs of the process. We know you have counselors, but we're here to help you here in the community if you need help or need some supplemental action. I'll talk more about that in my videos, but here's the ways you can connect with us. We have a website. You can always see the events we have. A lot of you got to us through our events, like our travel and our field trips. We're going to have, looks like right now, since we got the right dates finally, 3 very successful field trips. Check our event site for the dates and updates. I think Quinn just updated one. She'll have to do one more update on the DC trip. She just doesn't know it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to put that trip. I'll talk to you about that. Okay. Let's see what else we got. I think you got the Boise change though. Okay, the newsletter. We have a weekly newsletter. Hit up our webmaster, creativemarketing.eep. And again, we'll put in the chat a copy of this presentation a couple of times tonight. You can grab your own copy, and you can always email me. I'll send you a copy as well. But we have a weekly newsletter that's now read by like 400 or 500 families. No returns coming back, and about 60% are open. So I think many of you will be reading these real soon if you're on our email. Make sure you get on our email list too, that we actually have. You can email me at holythinkers@gmail.com. And there's a variety of other ways. You can email my team if you don't need me. You want to get to my team. These are 3 of my members, westa-eep@gmail. And then finally, we're on social media all over the place. Facebook. We're on YouTube. That's the best way probably to connect with us right now is YouTube. I did not include our Instagram. I probably should have. I did not include Pinterest. We're on there too. And I guess I forget about, I do X too. Most of my stuff on Twitter and X is going to be edu-political, like dealing with educational issues. Like right now, I'm clarifying for my seniors that financial aid is not affected by all the Doge cuts. Stop saying that. That's wrong. I have 2 great videos on that. I have 3 great videos, part 1, 2, and 3 on DEI. You might be surprised what I think about it. And I also talked about the NCAA, transgender sports, these kind of issues usually I deal with on X. And you can also find videos about it as well. Get in touch with how we are. We are a faith-based organization, but not in a very, very unpractical way. We think we're very balanced in the vision of our great leader and founder, Bishop Charles E. Blake. All right, here comes Sister Bonnie. Wow, they're all showing up today. There's my X and Twitter handle. Why don't you jump on there? You can follow me there as well. And I'm very active on all the social media, by the way. Okay, let's go on. Okay, some important questions that should drive your college decision. Parents, how much are you willing to pay, or said very clearly, go into debt? Read and know the parent loan table. I'm going to show it today. I've updated the table with the current percentages. Next year it could change. If inflation goes up, then that percentage goes, oh, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Sorry about that. If the interest rates go up, then that goes up. So there's a formula tied to it. Things to remember about parent loans. Who takes them out? These are some important questions to drive the decision. Anything saved for college? Away and close, in-state. People say, I want to stay close. I want to stay in-state, which I always say, oh, okay, in-state. Well, there's some in-state schools that are further away than out-of-state schools. Look at the shape of California, you can actually see it. Or I want to stay in the LA area. Do we understand career paths, not only majors? That's a big topic for us. We'll be covering in meeting number 3. Black school only, mostly. What are you thinking about that? These are some important questions. Of course, they're all rhetorical questions. They don't really have answers, but it's something for you to think about. Here are the most common family approaches to types of colleges. The type of college is usually, listen to this, the type of college, I should have said, if you have any questions, put it in the chat. One of my great assistants will bring it up to me. They'll interrupt me. Or if you want to raise your hand, they'll see it. Or if you just want to say, Deacon, I have a question, guess what? I'll stop because I'm sure I can cover this in the time that I have. I want to encourage questions. The type of college is usually determined either by grades or decision. Get this, by May 15th of the 11th grade year. It was true this past year. It's amazing how we lock in early on schools. We shouldn't probably do that, but it happens to people who aren't in our meetings all the time. You'll see it. You've probably seen it in earlier years. What have we heard is a big part of it. Our family, our friends, our counselors, the media, etc., are all things that determine the colleges that we'll apply to. And today I want to cut into that a little bit, okay? Give you some other ideas and different ways of thinking about the college, okay? The most common preferred decision types, okay? UCs, Universities of California, and selective private colleges. These are the ones that require the higher grades. Includes selective HBCUs. Every HBCU is not selective. There are about 6 of them you could get a reject letter to. About 6, okay? Black schools only. You might prefer to only apply to black schools. I get that a lot in election years, but as we move away from the election year, it's not as much. But I always get a lot of that, and I got a lot of that this year too. Only local colleges, people might say. Or they might say just CSUs and UCs. So how is one to put that all together? That's a very interesting question, in fact. Okay, let me get those meeting controls out of there. Okay. Early considerations for the colleges. Listen to this. Applying to colleges is not the same thing as attending college. Well, somebody from Pastor's office is calling me, y'all. That's interesting. Applying, people think, well, if I'm applying, I got to go. A lot of times students will say, oh, I'm not applying there. Well, applying is not the same as attending. You apply to colleges that you will not attend. Why not have some affordable schools on the application list? How about that? That's what we're here for. Have 2 to 4 CSUs on your list, no matter who you are. You don't know how things will change. Say, I'm going to get out of state. Well, you should also have some affordable schools. And one way is to get affordable is to have CSUs. That is certainly a way for you to be affordable. Let me do a little view change here. Okay, good. Okay, just a minute here. Okay. Just a little change here. Okay, here we go. Good. Okay. Just a second. So applying to college, not say, okay, include high career starting traditionally black colleges. Over time, some of our traditionally black colleges are really good at starting careers, and we'll talk about that later. High profile HBCUs. Why just one type of college? These are some things I want you to think about. Are you urban, suburban, or rural? How adventurous are you? This is for students, right? How close to home do you need or prefer to be? Some people will tell me right away, I don't want to go anywhere out of the LA area. Fine. So we're up front. We know the kinds of schools we're going to be looking at. Some will say, I don't want to be anywhere near California. Okay, good. We know the kinds of schools. Okay. I don't recommend that. I think you should, no matter what state you're in, if you listen to this, you should look at your state schools too. Application task challenges. Here we go. You have UCs and selective private colleges, black schools, or only local colleges. Those are all possibilities. I think you need to work 2 to 8 hours per week late March through August. If you don't spend that time, the entire college process moves to fall, which isn't a problem, but a lot of times my students with the longest lists of colleges do the least in the summer. Why is that? Well, I'll see if I can get to that in a minute. Why is it that the longest lists make the less progress? Hold on, we got a little instability here with the net. Okay, we're back. The competition with applications. What's competing with applications? What's competing with starting work on essays, for example? Here, in my experience, are the kind of things that Brianna and I have seen. Summer travel and enrichment, like you're sending your youth to visit colleges or they're traveling to visit relatives. These are all the kinds of things that compete with finishing the essays in the summer, right? Because remember what I said, listen closely. The longer the list is my experience, the more they get moved. And you might think, oh, that's because it's a bigger list. No, nothing gets done a lot of times. Because here's what it is, parents. The things that went into your believing they need a longer list, or they're believing that, are the same things that keep them, they're very busy. Now, I don't mind young people being busy, but if you're trying to do applications and do the August SAT, for example, gets a little challenging. I'm going to repost a video I did on that last year. I think it's very effective. All right. Okay. Usually 2 to 3 of these things, summer travel, summer job, athletic practices and games. If you're like on a travel team, club, and not much is going to happen on applications. Why? Because you're TIRED. You are tired. Performing arts, college camp. These are all good things, but understand that you really should have a more efficient list because you're putting a lot of colleges on there and expecting a lot in the summer. Sometimes you could have 20 or 30 essays at the end you'll need to have written. Usually 2 to 3 are actually what's happening. 2 or 3 of those things in the blue over here are actually what's happening. Let's see if I can use my little board here. I bet I can. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so it's usually 2 or 3 of these things are actually what's happening. The more college, more applications above the 4 private, the more likely essays are to go into September through December, which is not the end of the world, but it has the challenge of competing with school and with school activities and athletics, all those kind of things. There's advantages to summer. Of course, the thing with athletics is it's year-round in California. Okay, here's the college admission process, but from what I call, listen closely, a data-driven perspective. We saw earlier the other ways, like what you've seen, what you've heard, what family members tell you, what counselors tell you. How about letting the data drive it? Here's what I mean. You got out-of-state colleges, public universities. You have California state universities. By the way, that 3 should be 22 because recently Maritime merged with Cal Poly. Early action private colleges, Protestant Christian colleges, and universities of California, and regular period private colleges. So here are the approximate dates of all this. I'm sorry. You'll have application acceptances, FAFSA submission, FAFSA award. Basically, you'll find due cost determination and trade-offs. But it all starts with a data-driven list. What kind of data are we talking about? I'll talk about it more later. But GPA, SAT scores, college and career, this is real information, not just what we heard, and that's okay. You can have schools that are what you heard or friends go there. It's okay, but you ought to have some that are there because of actual data. And we're very good at helping you know those schools with actual data. Let's look closely at this. So they're the types of schools. These are the types of schools in Brown, the way we see it. We divide our types of schools very differently than other people who just go private and public. I don't think it's that simple. You got to group them by the types of things with cost, the types of things with things they're looking for in the application. Out-of-state public universities, California State University, like we said before, no problem. So September 15th is when you can start out-of-state public universities, just to get an idea how close we are. October 1st to 31st, I think that you should be doing your Cal State University applications. And we help with that. We'll explain later. Early action private colleges are usually November 1st. Most of them are November 1st. There's a few that will take it to the 15th. Universities of California, November 1st through 30th. Although You can start the essay, I think, in April, and they're going to announce. I heard already. They told us they're keeping the essays the same, so you can start those early. You can start on your UC essays anytime you want. Would it be good to do them, get them done, put them in the freezer? We're going to probably, if we get enough people interested, have some kind of session, but then hold you accountable, students, to get things done, to get a draft done for review, not just have a meeting and talk to you about it and then forget about it until September, which is something that a lot of schools will do this summer, parents. They'll get the students in and you'll go, good, they're going to start their applications. And they don't really do that. They show them what they need to do, but the students need a little more guidance than just that, a little more, shall we say, motivation than that. And we're good at that. December 1st to 31st is regular privates. You have your application essay development. So those last 3 blocks are your essay schools. These are the schools where the essays are coming from. Okay? They'll need some one-on-one or small group. You can put that in there. Small group support. Okay? And then in this blue ring here is you need some delivery support as well. That's the thing we do. Forget about your high cost consultants. We're very, very, very affordable, very simple fee process, very little, very low. We have, why? Because we have subsidization of our board and we know a lot about the process. If you want individualized contracts, we can do those, but we're certainly not going to be like those $8,000 college consultants. In fact, it used to be, it didn't happen this year. Some of them would come to us for help with special kinds of financial aid paperwork. The college admissions, that's the college admission process with EEP support. Why every student who is 3.0 to 3.3 GPA or below should not predominantly apply to selective private college. Sure, if they want to apply to some selective private colleges, it's fine. But those typically want much higher GPAs. And I know students work so hard and they want to apply to those schools. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't make it predominantly those kind of schools. Have some other schools in your list too that are more likely to accept you. And by the way, some of whom you can leverage that 3.0 to 3.3 and get some money that really makes a difference in college. We'll talk about that later. First of all, this includes HBCUs, which are mostly private colleges, okay? Unless $100,000 or $300,000 for a 4-year is okay for you. That means you're going to take debt for that, parents. You know, if you get $40,000 in financial grants from USC, you still owe $50,000 a year because it's $96,000 to go there. More on that later. That's a lot of money. I mean, you get a $50,000. That's a lot of money. $40,000. That's a pretty good grant, right? But it does not significantly lower the cost of USC for most people. Okay. For many people, it's okay to do that kind of debt. Now, it's going to happen this year. Happens all the time on families I don't know, and some I do. This also applies to nearly all the out-of-state public. And oh yeah, they can be very expensive too. Complex admissions requirements. What you have is complex admissions requirements with little chance of success. Certainly not if you mean success as an affordable college. Again, if you have any questions, use the chat, raise your hand, or just go ahead and ask me. Okay. Let's see here. Why every student? Oh, the same thing, okay? Unless the GPA is 3.85 plus unweighted and the SAT is 1,300, popular and known, quote, whatever you mean there, 4-year selective private college is not really affordable. It's going to be $80,000 to $300,000 for the 4 years. $80,000 will be a steal, by the way. Admissions is possible with a reduced GPA and a high SAT. Okay, but what about affording it? To afford it, you need both to be very high. Admissibility and affordability are two, listen to this, entirely different issues. They're different. They're different. Getting admitted is like that famous scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker says he's just like a dog running after a car. He said he won't know what to do if he catches the car. So you can catch the school and get in, but now you got to afford it, and that's an entirely different issue. Students should get listen to this, students. Students should get the school they earn and want, not just the school they want. And a lot of people will say students should get the school of their choice. You'll never hear me say that. I want them to, that'd be a dream, but unfortunately I know they have to earn it. They have to earn the college that they want. Okay, and that's what we teach. It's very important. All right, here's a little EEP, Education Enrichment Program. I showed this to the city of Lakewood at their session. It's the 1/3 rule. It still applies. Basically, for private school, this 1/3 model has been in effect for the longest time. 33% is going to be, in a perfect world, covered by the student, by their merit awards. 33% is covered by the school. Then in the blue, 33% by the parents. Now, of course, if the students get a higher GPA, closer to 4.0, even above 3.8, and the family income is lower, right? The amount that the school pays gets bigger and the parent amount gets smaller. But this is a good way to look at it when looking at the price, just the sticker prices. If you're a family making above $75,000 and your student gets into one of these schools. Remember, if they get in with a lower GPA, the parent blue is going to be bigger, right? 40%, 45, 50 is not uncommon. NYU, we project for next year will be $92,500 for 1 year of tuition and board. I'm not including the indirect costs. I don't think that's fair. University of Southern California, $96,900. This year it's $94,900. I'm just saying if there's a $2,000 increase. Harvard, it's $87,600 per year. Remember the 30% rule, right? 30% of these is minimum what you're going to pay. Georgetown is $95,900 per year. Arizona State, well, there's an out-of-state public, but it's $57,000. But you remember, there is going to be no out-of-state grants for Arizona State. I've seen cases where Arizona State is more than a private school because there's no out-of-state award at Arizona, or very small, right? University of Oregon, $62,400 a year, same thing. There's not a lot of granting. And these are schools students want to go to. I hear Arizona, Oregon, Oregon State. I hear those all the time. I hear University of Arizona. These schools are quite expensive. I hear UNLV a lot, right? Howard University, $54,200 per year. Okay. However, I like Howard for other reasons. I'll get to that later. Hampton University, $49,200 per year. Here's the parent loan table, parents. This interest rate for this year's parents is going to be 8.63%. Term of the loan is 10 years. Yeah, you're reading that right, 8.63%. So if you do 4 years at $30,000 a year, and you're down here at 120, when your student leaves school, you can see it's between 1621. Let me do that. There it is. Right here. In 16, oops, sorry. Between 1621 and 1870, right, if you can follow my cursor, is what you'll pay per month for 10 years. What if it's $250,000, which I've seen? I see it all the time with schools like USC. It's going to be $3,000 a month for 10 years. This is where you get into affecting your retirement, your ability to retire. So this is the loan table. If you get a copy of the presentation, you'll have that pretty much there, okay? Here's the realities of the current private school market. Post-pandemic, most private colleges are returning to their high-cost models. Due to inflation, net costs will even be higher now than it was before the pandemic. Parents still believe that getting admitted to selective, well-known private college means the best life success and are often willing to take debts of $100,000 to $300,000 to send their youth to these schools. Even during an election year, and I always say here, and I'll say it here again, that if you get in, say, Cal State Long Beach, which is, I think right now, or San Diego State for that matter, which I think are two of the top public universities, not only on the West Coast, but in the country. I think they're both in the top 20. We're talking about like 2,400 schools, okay? Those schools will be no more than about $8,000 in tuition, which is considered high in CSU, but it's not much compared to this. The tuition at USC is $77,000, 10 times more. Do you believe that USC is 10 times better than San Diego State or CSU Long Beach? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Even during election year and now, there is zero political discussion of helping parents with their loans. No one's talking about that. We find no difference in the futures of similar performing youth who pick these kind of schools versus CSUs and other public universities. Yeah, I've been doing this long enough. I've seen successful students from these expensive private colleges. I've seen not so successful students from the private colleges. I've seen successful students from CSU and some that are not, right? Depends a lot on what the community pours into those students and what you can pour into them before they go to college. And that's another whole story that we'll get to as we get through the college season. How about application delivery support for UC and selective private colleges? So for the UCs and selective private colleges, we have a grade self-report. In the case of UC, you'll see in a minute, but they both have essays. So both selective private colleges and UC have essays. And then there's application delivery. But there's teacher recommendations and transcripts that go with private colleges. And notice the SAT I have dashed, because sometimes it's not even required. There's a bunch of private schools that don't require it. If you want a list, email me, I'll send you a link. There's some which claim it's optional. I won't have much to say about that today, because I think optional means required. But I did show it with private colleges. But notice UC does not have an SAT requirement. Currently, the SAT, and I can tell you for you all, the SAT will not be required for admission. Okay? So there's a grade self-report on UC, and then we give startup support for the essays. You see the arrow coming up? That's what we do. There's our Education Enrichment logo. We support students in doing their essays during the summer to get ready. The right way to start an application is not to start filling it out. Most time parents will say, fill out the application. Well, the application isn't really available, but we know the essays, they can start on their essays. They can always do that. And that's where it should start. Because listen to this, 95% of the work on an application is the essay. The grade self-report, you saw me just turn on the Education Enrichment. We support helping students put in the grades correctly on the UC application. Common application, more than 1,200 colleges now accept the common application. It's predominantly accepted by selective private colleges. The more popular HBCUs also accept the Common App. There's a few notable exceptions, schools that do not take the Common App and probably will never take it. Biola Brown did take it 1 year during the pandemic. They're back to their regular way. Georgetown does not use the Common App. You can set up the account at commonapp.org, although I think you can't do that this early. 90% of the work is on the essay. Students are required to pick one of 6 essays. Let's go through the Common App process. There's essay development. They open up a Common App account. There's a Common App college list that's inputted into that account. There's a complete application field. You can do those. Then there's teacher and counselor recommendations, supplemental essays, and then early decision delivery or early action delivery, a restrictive early action decision or regular decision. If you're wondering what difference between early decision and early decision, it's binding, you have to go to the school. Early action, you can still decide not to go. Restrictive early action is just what it says. For certain schools, you're required to go. I mean, if you're going to go to a private college and you got into restrictive early action college, you probably can't go to that other private college. You can go to state school probably. It's a good chance of that. But depending on how the school handles restrictive early action, you could not get another early action school. And most private colleges do have that provision. So that's the common application. And we guide students all the way through this, of course. How about CSU? What happens with CSU? There's a grade self-report. Yep, just like taxes, parents. They report their own grades, and they basically the application can be delivered. But as you know, it's not quite that simple. We help the students with the application. We have a data form. I'm sorry, my arrow didn't come out. But we have a data form that we help them fill out, and we help them with their self-report. Because the self-report is not user-friendly, and students could make mistakes on that self-report. You can put the presentation up, Bailey, from time to time in there. I see people are coming in late. Okay, you can shoot that in there. Again, parents, if you need a copy of the presentation, click on it in the chat and take it up and steal it to your computer right now. You can do that. So we follow up student with training. Once the application is delivered, we do that, okay? And the arrows didn't come out, but once the application is delivered, we follow up and train the students to make the delivery. But we also participate over here in submitting the application and helping them with the self-report or doing it ourselves. Where do CSUs fit into all this? Some of you are deciding, I don't want to apply to CSU. Well, I made a statement at the beginning, I think you should apply to 2 to 4, if not just for affordability reasons. But where do they fit in? Well, per the higher education plan for the state of California, we have 113 two-year colleges, and they're for all students. They offer transfer degrees for CSU and UC. Then we have the University of California with its 9 campuses. It takes the top 10% of your high school's students. That's a state law. So that's why if you're 3.0, 3.2, 3.3, you probably are not getting into UC. California State Universities have 22 campuses, not 23. I got to correct those because now we don't have maritime anymore. It's all part of SLO. So there's 23 campuses in CSU. The top 33 to 40% of high school students get into CSU. What I should have said is, like on the 10% for UC, well, some are much more selective than 10. I assure you that Berkeley, San Diego, and UCLA probably only took the top 3 to 4%, whereas Riverside and Merced and other campuses probably took closer to the 10, right? Maybe some of them even over the 10. The same thing with California State. I mean, we say 33 to 40, but there are 3 CSUs that are very, very selective for out of area students, of which San Diego State, CSU Long Beach, and how could I forget, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo are extremely selective schools. Campus list, Northern California. We have Chico State. I should have put Chico State. They're now Chico State, not CSU Chico. Humboldt State. Humboldt's now Humboldt Poly. It's now a poly school, Polytechnic. It's no longer Humboldt State. I got to correct those. San Francisco Bay Area, we have San Francisco State, San Jose State, Sacramento State, Sonoma State. No more CSU Maritime. I got to update this chart. And then CSU East Bay. Those are all schools in the San Francisco Bay Area. Central California, Fresno, Stanislaus, Monterey Bay, San Luis Obispo, Channel Island. Okay. LA area CSUs. We got. Let's see what we got here. Yep. CSU Cal State LA, CSU Dominguez Hills, CSU San Bernardino, Long Beach, Northridge, not count Bakersfield, just over the hill as an LA area school, and Cal Poly Pomona. CSU Fullerton also. These are all your LA area schools. Now down south, Southern California, I really mean Southern, CSUs. San Diego State, CSU San Marcos. So there's your CSUs. I put an asterisk next to the suburban or just plain old rural. There's some rural CSUs that are out in the country or in small towns. Okay? I count Sonoma State that way, but it is near Santa Rosa that has 300,000 people. And it's in the Bay Area, so you're not really that remote, but some CSUs are more remote than others. Let's just say it that way, okay? Like Chico State and Humboldt State. Okay? What does it take to get into CSU? 2.5 GPA, test scores not required or accepted. Remember, it's only A through G subjects. I didn't include them today, but you get, maybe I did. I don't think I did. How is it computed? It's the cumulative look, when you pick up the transcript, and that should be a good homework assignment, parents, get a copy of the transcript. You look for this USC CSU GPA for 3 years of high school. So it will tell the GPA so far if you look at their transcript. On the transcripts, it's called one of the following: academic GPA, university GPA, or UC-CSU GPA, or also weighted GPA at some private schools, private high schools. They're talking about this is the GPA that's going to be read for CSU. On the application, you'll report classes that are in progress and planned. You report those on the application. So that's how you apply. Let's look at the application tips as far as the CSUs. You're going to apply to two to four CSUs based on your GPA. That's a rough way to do it. If you have, so here's the most selective CSU campuses, okay? San Luis Obispo, Fullerton, Long Beach, San Diego State, San Marcos, San Jose. Now, I should say that because of the enrollment shortages in CSU, I noticed this year, even the most selective CSUs, well, no, minus Long Beach and San Diego, they were just as rough. In general, CSUs are accepting students with lower GPAs because they are really low in their enrollment right now. So this is a good time to steal a selective CSU. Here's some other CSUs: Chico State, East Bay. I put it at a 3 level. Sacramento State, Sonoma State. I think Sonoma State's way easier now, probably in the 4 range, because they're having serious enrollment issues. I think Channel Island's already down there. Good. All those schools in the 4, the only one that's not right is probably Bakersfield. We need to move that up to 3 now, because Bakersfield is not hurting for students, whereas these other CSUs are. Isn't that interesting? But it's a good year to look at applying to CSUs. Usually we get some community-based application waivers too. Here's your UCs: UCLA, UC Berkeley, San Diego. This is from the desk of a very good counselor friend of mine in UC. Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, Riverside, Irvine. You get an idea what it takes to get into UC. Remember, I told you higher GPAs required. I'm seeing no difference. UCs are not having enrollment issues, not at all. So it's hard to sneak in with a lower GPA. All right, California, college affordability base, most affordable non-California. Okay, what are the most affordable non-California state colleges? We talked about UC and CSU. Most Protestant Christian colleges are way better buy than private colleges, other private colleges. Some Western state colleges, not all of them. Now, if you're talking about Arizona State, UNLV, Oregon State, you're paying good money for those schools. But some Western state colleges, I'll tell you who they are in a minute. You may not want to go to them, but I'm going to tell you. Like University of Washington is another high-cost school. Some Big Ten large state colleges in the Midwest are an excellent buy for California students. You might not want to go, but they're great Big Ten schools. If you like a big sports campus and you don't mind the cold, University of Iowa, great buy. They have an amazing California student scholarship. It's amazing. University of Indiana, same thing. Not Michigan, no, boy. They don't give any money out to California students. Certain private colleges, California state universities. Again, these are the most affordable colleges. Look at that, I included CSU, though I said I wouldn't. Okay. Here's how the financial aid process works. I have way more to say about this later. It's going to be your 2026, 27 FOBSA. Ooh, that feels funny saying that. I'm doing 25, 26 right now. Doing FOBSA. I've done already about 100. There's going to be some kind of verification, but that's done inside the application now. Right now, inside of the financial FOBSA, there's a automatic verification of tax data that occurs during the application when you're actually doing it. It's really pretty amazing. Then you can get a financial aid award. You could have no review and an award, but that's very rare because the review is now done while the application is being filed. Now, here's the part most people don't know about. For certain private colleges, there's a CSS profile, which is a College Board document that's going to be required. Here comes the surprise. They're going to upload your federal tax return. They're not going to get it automatically. They're not going to rely on what the FAFSA gave them. And then there'll be a financial reward. But here's the part that's tricky. They have a non-custodial parent part too that has to be done. So if you're a separated parent, you have a child going to college, they're going to want the information on the parent. I hope you heard that. Now, there are a bunch of private schools that don't want the information. Don't you think you should mix in schools that don't require it if you have a second parent that makes a lot of money or doesn't want to cooperate? Again, you can talk to me about all this in total confidence and privacy. It's about 640 colleges that require the non-custodial parent information. Notice this is not the FAFSA. On the FAFSA, it's only one parent, the custodial parent. But on the CS profile, private schools are going to require the non-custodial. Now, every college doesn't require the CS profile. There's only certain colleges, I think about 800, and 640 of those require the non-custodial parent information. Again, any questions? You know what to do. FAFSA facts to consider. We're almost done. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The FAFSA for the 26-27 year, listen to this, is based on 2024 income, not 25. It's going to be harder for you to remember that as we get close to the end of the year. You'll think it's based on 25, but it's not. It's based on 24. The first date for filing the FAFSA will probably be October or December. We don't know which. Every year they told us October was December, and it caused a lot of traffic jams in the financial aid process. It's causing them again this year. I sure hope they go back to October. We recommend that all FAFSAs be filed first weeks of availability of the FAFSA. So I filed about 30 FAFSAs. On December 31st, it dropped. By January 10th, I filed 30 FAFSAs for parents. Some selective private colleges also require the CS profile. I told you that. And the 2025-26 profile process will probably require parent information on the divorce, take probably out. Divorced or separated non-custodial parent, the FAFSA only requires it on one custodial parent. Okay? That's the facts to consider on that. What do you need to know more about it? Okay? FAFSA is not user-friendly. It's highly likely that you'll make a mistake if it's your first time, especially with this new FAFSA. It's very tricky to figure out. It's very confusing. Usually the mistake is not critical, but sometimes it is. Here's what you'll need to file the FAFSA. FAFSA username and password. 2024 federal tax return. Go to fafsa.ed.gov. Mistakes on the FAFSA also happen in the follow-up phase when colleges ask questions or you think you need to make a change, you make it and it messes it up. Please, 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 no youth should file their own FAFSA as a first-year student. I don't think second-year students should. It should be the parents filing it for the student with help from somebody like me. Now, you can get help from your school, but you get help from the school, your high school, some kind of state law, they have to ask you about it. You do that, you're going to have all your personal information sent to the school, parents. All right, do not have a commercial service file your students file. So make a donation to us, 30 to 50 bucks, sometimes free if you're getting a Pell Grant, we don't charge you. But we put the money away for travel for our foster students. We get into the travel time of the year. We have students who can't afford the trip we want to help. Hey, that's where this comes in. Other FAFSA considerations. Order your FAFSA username and password today. Say, well, it's real early, Deacon. Well, why not? Get it out of the way and resolve any issues with your name or something's different about your Social Security, name of your Social Security card versus your name people know you as. Also, your last name. If you're a divorced or separated person, you might have a last name issue. You want to get it real straight. You'll be able to do it at a leisurely pace right now and work it, rather than we're trying to get the FAFSA filed. Use the following URL, fafsa.gov, click Create FSA ID. Remember, youth and parent each need a FAFSA username and password. Most people don't know that, but it's true. Take the time to order the username and password today. There, I'm saying it again. Important tips when creating your FAFSA usernames and passwords. Again, you'll have a copy of this. Please be looking at it when you're doing it. Both student and parent must create a username and password. Each should use their names as they appear on the Social Security card, like I said, not necessarily on your ID or how you're known. Watch out for assumed names after divorce. The name may be hyphenated after marriage or still one prior to marriage. Please be aware of that. When making the FOPSA username, keep it simple. Here's our format. First initial, last name, 4 or 5 numbers. Keep it real simple. FOPSA password, 4 letters, 1 capitalized, 3 small letters, 4 numbers, and 1 special character. That's the way I would set it up if I were you. Again, you can look at this while you're setting it up. Why not do it early? If you had a password from before parents, username and password, you can retrieve it. Look closely, you can retrieve it. And click retrieve your password and freeze your, you'll have the same username and password for the rest of your life, unless you change it. The students will need one. They don't have one yet. Again, you can wait for the school to do this with the students, but they tend to do it later in the period, later in the year. College application process with essays. Okay, we talked about this a little bit. I'm reviewing it now. Relatives and friends have suggestions, student and counselor research. And see, a lot of students will go, well, let's see, let me look for my major. If you look for your major, there may be, 500, 600, 700 colleges. Just looking for your major isn't always practical. Let's just say it that way. Because it's not about major anyway. We'll talk about this later, but it's about career path. What career or jobs are you interested in? Then you can think about the major. But most people mention major first. I don't think you should do that. Look at the way I put it. Facts and data, GPA, unweighted and weighted GPAs. You should know those. They're on your transcript. SAT scores, family income, all career possibilities. Career, not major. You don't see major at all listed there, okay? Then you'll have a college list, okay? If necessary, you do Common App. So, Deacon, it's got to be necessary. No, it doesn't. If your grades are reduced, you're going to do CSU. You're not going to have Common App. That's why it's a dashed line. Everybody shouldn't apply to private schools. Most parents feel that, a lot of parents feel they should, though. Everybody shouldn't apply to UC either. You can, because it's a free country. Last time I checked. Supplemental essays, right? These are all if necessary. But UC private application completion, this is what the essays it said, so it's those two. And then there's early action the 1st to the 15th with some schools, and then you're out of the process then, okay? Facts about the essays. UC essay. You're going to pick 4 quote essays called personal insight questions for 250 to 350 words. 4 out of 8 you'll pick from a list. On the Common App, you pick 1 out of 6, 350 to 650 words. Okay? Some common application schools want additional writing of 250 to 500 words. Those are called supplemental essays. Also, they'll have short answers, perhaps. Now, some other schools just have regular essays. Some non-common application schools want 1 to 2 essays of varying length. Biola requires 2 now. Georgetown University gives you a sub-application first, which has 2 essays on it. You finish it, then they'll invite you back to do another essay in the rest of your application if you get through the first. Sometimes they just reject you right then in November, October. Brown University has their own essay back again. They're back now on their own. And there's other schools too that do their own thing, okay? Here's the key to high college academic merit awards. Grades, 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 grades. This is what students don't understand. I'll stop there. Grades. You want to go to certain schools, you're going to have to get merit awards to help your parents. Listen closely, students. This is the last semester where you can significantly affect your GPA. Think about that. Cut down on your cell phone, your social media time. What do you say? You get some grades. Come on in and get help from us in our homework club. Talk about that in a minute. Let's get these grades up. It's grades, grades, grades. Especially now. There's the Overton window, that's my favorite term. The attention in our society, in other words, is moving away from considerations other than merit. If you're worried about who's in the White House, that's fine, but you should Trump-proof yourself. Get grades. That's how you Trump-proof. If you worry about him, get grades. Parents, they need to get grades. That's what they need to do, so they don't fear any judgment by merit. And they can do it. We bad, y'all. And then the SAT or the ACT. Notice how I made it smaller. Grades is predominant here. Okay? SA candidate student profile. Who should take the SAT? Who should take the prep? Let's deal with SAT. Typically, it's high GPA students that are going to need the SAT. They needed to get merit awards. ACT of 20 or a composite or SAT already taken of 960, you're a candidate to take it again and score higher. I should have said PSAT. If high student debt is okay with you, then fine, they can take the SAT and the SAT prep. If debt is okay with you, then it doesn't matter that they get a high SAT and a low GPA. If the student will, now there are some schools that you can get money from for your GPA alone. Seattle Pacific, by the way, is one of them, but also Grand Canyon University is another one. We'll have a quick word to say about them in a minute. If the student will apply to private colleges away from California, definitely including HBC or TBC. So if you're going to apply to colleges away from California, you need to take the SAT. Here's our digital SAT prep plan. We have a lot of students in here today in this that are already doing the SAT in March. They just finished their last major prep class. I have a drill session this Thursday. Watch your email on that, students. They should take the May, June, or August SAT for those that didn't take it in March. They've not taken it at all if he or she needs it to take the test. And they should take the prep. We prep for each one of those tests, May, June, and August. See, but if you're busy in the summer, the August is out. You can't do prep. So again, if you're in year-round sports, this is a challenge. Take it a second time in August, September, October. So those taking the March test, take it again in August, September, October. We'll do a review for it. We'll offer SAT prep for all tests, in person and online for an additional fee. It's $100 to $260, depending on the high school. There are limited spots. You go to westa-eep, www.westa-eep.org to register. Register for the SAT at collegeboard.com, www.collegeboard.com. Use sites that are further away, further out in the county if you can't find a site, because LUSD and Long Beach don't offer their high schools anymore. That's the weirdest thing, you guys. They have very few sites where you can take it. So you're going to take the SAT further away in the county, further out. Now, a lot of those schools have now added extra seats, places like Los Alamitos, and went out on the 10 freeway out that way on some of those cities. You can go deep into the valley and take it that way. But unfortunately, that's what we have to do because our public school districts are not offering their schools for the test. Bet you didn't know that. It's hard to get sites anyway. Latest important information. Man, we're teaching our students to use the digital SAT online calculator. It's a test assistant. This is unique for us. We're unique in our style. We push it hard. Students to use that as an assistant on the test. I don't think you should call it a calculator. I call it a test assistant. So we do a lot of work in our prep with that. So if students are weak in math, they should take this prep. We'll show them how to use that. Top ways youth and parent, here we go, my favorite part of the thing. How can youth control costs? How can parents control costs? Students, have a realistic, non-entitlement perspective on yourself. You're not entitled to anything. You have to earn everything in life. Students, you get the school you earn and choose. I talked about it before. Life lesson number 1, college selection process teaches us that you can't have everything you want. Students, please easily understand you cannot and do not have a right to any college you want, no matter the cost, no matter what your parents say or promise. Even if they promise, you're not entitled to that. Applications require work, students, and time above and beyond your homework, job, athletics, and any other involvements, job, etc. It requires work. If you're going to have a lot of applications, have a quality application, it's going to take work doing those essays. Okay. Here we go again. Parents, having open conversations with youth about college. How much are you willing to pay in cash for college per year, parents? How much debt are you willing to take? A lot of you will say none. All right, well, that means you're limited right there in the kinds of colleges. So it's a question whether you deal with that early in the process and make the list more effective and shorter, or you're going to do it for later and let the list be longer, and you'll end up rejecting those schools anyway. How much per month are you willing to pay 7 to 2 years, 10 years after your student leaves college? Okay. I say per month. How much per month are you willing to pay per month? How much per month are you willing to pay 7 to 10 years for 7 to 10 years after your student leaves college? That's a very important question. Evaluate your students' study skills and willingness to succeed academically when you are not there every day before going into debt. Okay, so there's a little bit of a trust factor there, students and parents. You really need to earn the trust of your parents, students, if you're asking them to go into debt to send you to college. College selection tips. Students, make this year right now end as your greatest academic year. This 11th grade year is very important. Use our Enriched Studies program. We have an Enriched Studies program or a homework club. You can come right on by there. We're there 3 days a week, 4:30 to 7:30. Get a hold of me. I can send you a link. You can come there. We can help you with your homework. All right? It helps you with your merit awards to have high grades if you work on your studies. And you go into college on a high. You're performing at a high level. Curb your number of activities and employment while doing your applications. Many students are doing too much to do better on their applications. If you're doing too much, it's hard for people like me and Brianna to help you with your essays, because we like to get those essays done in 1 to 2 weeks. It's certainly the first few essays, maybe 3. And then you have your supplemental essays you got to do after that. So let's get them done in the summer or as early as we can, so we don't have to worry about it in the fall. Oh, yes, and you're commanded to have fun your senior year. How about that, on top of all that? Regulate and control the use of AP classes for the 12th grade year. Academic merit awards for selective colleges are based on 3 years, not 3.5 or 4 years. So we should back off on the AP classes, take off the stress. Understand the mathematics of the situation. If you want to raise your GPA, it's probably too late to do it with AP classes in 12th grade. It's too late. The mathematics tells us it's too late. Students, resist the fear of disappointing counselors with a teacher by not taking those classes. I want you to be more of a you first mentality. Not selfish, but think about yourself first. Recognize when you should actually continue AP classes and when you should not. If you're getting C's and B's on AP classes, why are you doing that? Just take regular classes and ace them and get that GPA higher the 7th semester. Top tips. Find out and apply for the most affordable colleges. Name brand colleges with average to very good grades equal high college costs. If you have average to very good grades, you're going to pay a lot for those name brand colleges. This includes some of the HBCUs, by the way. Name brand college interest with super high grades. It's quite reduced college costs in most cases. If you have super high grades, you want a name brand school, it can work out for you. You have a high SAT score, even better. I got a young lady that got into Dartmouth with a $60,000 scholarship. Basically, her tuition is paid, and she's getting another small scholarship from her district because she worked at it and she has super high grades, worked hard on her essays. Watch for early lock-in, parents and students. This is the one thing that colleges sometimes are hoping for, that you lock in early and you'll pay anything for the school. Visit 1 to 2 colleges that you think or believe you will like, not one that you will not like. Visit 1 to 2 that you will not like, right? To see if you want it. You never know. You just never know. That's how you learn things. Be curious. All right, I know we're traveling to Boise State in March and later this month. I know we're going to DC. Most people going there want to go see Howard. That's fine. But be curious about schools that you think you're not going to like. We're going to have a lot of presentations at our new building real soon. I'm a little concerned that we don't get the turnout. We used to get really good turnout for college meetings, but I need some curious students. Students who are going to come out and learn about schools. We're going to have Grand Canyon visit us. We're going to have CSU Long Beach visit us, Cal State LA. We're going to hopefully get somebody from Sonoma if they have an area rep. I'm going to get George Washington to come in there. I'm going to get schools to come in, but I really need you to consider coming out to learn about these schools. Students learn to draw a distinction between applying and attending. It's like shopping versus buying. Let's close out with my ideas for colleges for your college list. Remember our top affordable preferred colleges. Think about non-traditional alternative approaches. I can see I didn't mention two-year college here. I'll cover that in the next meeting. Oh, look at that picture over there. Who's that guy on the end? Ooh, hope it doesn't scare you. This is the president and vice president of Charles Drew University. And that man right there is, we call him the GOAT, Bishop Charles Blake. We say he's the greatest of all time. That's when we went over there, signed an MOU with them. They're such great friends. That's a good way to steal a pre-college medical degree or get into certain fields like radiology, coming out of a great four-year school. That's Charles Drew University. And then when we have Grand Canyon, these are examples of non-traditional alternative colleges that are excellent choices. Let me let this instability ride here. Okay. Here's some more ideas for the college list. Remember our top affordable preferred Black colleges. Howard University is on the list, so you got to be careful. If you have really good grades, you get a really good merit award from Howard. Really good grades, really good merit award, makes it a great buy. Unfortunately, a lot of students I've sent to Howard have had super high grades. Keep your grades up. You got to find a way, especially those of you with activities. It's going to be harder to do that your senior year. Tuskegee is another school that's very affordable, easy to attain grants. Virginia, much easier than Howard. Virginia State is a good school for cost. Norfolk State, great for cost. They have a great out-of-state scholarship. Delaware State, well, my mind is on, I guess I kind of like Southern A&M also for traditionally Black college. I find Florida A&M to be a little overpriced for out-of-state students. Let's see. Here's my top affordable private college. Again, I'm just trying to give you ideas for your list, right? George Washington University. Oh, you have a picture there of GW on the top and Biola University on the bottom. George Washington University, Seattle Pacific, Reed College, Carnegie Mellon, Lehigh. These are all great affordability private colleges. University of Laverne, Biola University, Cal Baptist. That's still okay. Loyola Marymount, ooh, but you got to have income less than $60,000. As you move away from $60,000, they feel you can pay for college no matter what. Okay, so that's a list there. How about by college type? Let's look at some other ones here. Here's some affordable Western public universities. Boise State, that's our top one. We're visiting Boise State, as I said. They have an excellent grant they give our students called the Angeles Grant or Pacific Grant. I think it's called Pacific Grant. That makes it cheaper than a CSU for my parents who have students who are making, say over 100,000, and you're going to do a CSU, even 80,000. And it's going to cost you, 22, 25,000. You can get it cheaper than that at Boise State because of the grant. Nevada Reno has excellent grants, merit awards are easy to attain. University of New Mexico, excellent merit awards, easy to attain. Somebody said, it's New Mexico. Well, okay, that's okay. Don't go. Northern Arizona, Colorado State, University of Colorado. These are all from Montana State. These are all affordable Western schools. Ooh, there's somebody I don't have them here. I think I got them all this time. I got them. That's good. Okay. Best buys, I told you before, Grand Canyon, Boise State, George Washington. I'm telling you the reason why. EEP favorable with GW, because we can put influence on the alumni award, because we work with them on admissions matters. they do look at our students closer for grants. Lehigh is very favorable to middle class. Carnegie Mellon, same way. South Pacific's one of our favorable schools. They like our students. CSU and UC, they've shown later. I did not show them actually. Western public universities, Nevada, Reno, University of, I just covered them before. Okay. That's what we have for you today. I didn't hear any questions. Let me put it back to view back correctly. Okay, I don't think we heard any questions. Brianna, do you have some thoughts that come to mind here? I don't want to just, should have called on you during it, that you want to say here to the students? Quite a few students here, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I thought that this was a really great presentation. Yeah, as you mentioned about the rankings of the CSUs, like that's like typically I'm happy that you mentioned SLO being selective in San Diego State and Long Beach State, and also about the grade situation, considering like how things are right now, just making sure to keep your grades up so that way it won't be an issue with the merit-based information. Like, hopefully as long as you like keep your grades up, then everything will be okay. So I think that that was like a really good encouragement.
Yeah, I think so, and we got a lot of students here, is my impression. Michaela, was that all right?
Yes.
Aren't you getting tired of me calling on you?
Not really.
Is that your mother over there laughing?
Yes.
Send me the information.
I've been calling her all day, Sister Riley, because of the essay.
I need you to send me that. I just told her
She's
to check
got
her email.
She's got it. She's got it.
Tell them what I said.
0825 at something 0825. I sent it to her too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. Yeah, send it to your mom. Let your mom look at it. It's very important because I want to keep the price down for her. She's my buddy. Let's see. I got some other students in my impression. Sister Sunday, is Elise there? You don't get to say Sister Sunday on Sundays very often. I think she might have left. All right, Sister Bonnie, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
I think a friend of yours just called to make sure you were here.
Oh, yeah, we're here. Isley's here. She just literally just stepped away.
I bet you don't even know who it is. Somebody at West A. She
Oh,
called.
Janice.
I feel like she's calling me to make sure you're in.
Janice Small with McKinsey.
Yeah, she gets my emails too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her checking you out.
Yep, we love her.
Hey, I love her too. She's the greatest.
And we appreciate you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's good. Hey, Sister Charlie, I appreciate you too. And we're going to work together. You know that, right? I guess we're going to work.
No, I'm here. Absolutely. Thank you.
You know we're working it out. We don't have to talk about it, but
Absolutely. We appreciate you.
No matter, you already paid. Don't worry about it. All right, Sister Marshall, you make my program feel like a VIP program. What's up?
It is a VIP. Thank you. I appreciate all your help. My son is sitting here also, Shane.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good.
I don't get to have him here that often, but he's sitting here listening.
Yes.
So thank you. Appreciate you, Bishop. Deacon Wilson.
Great. I see Sister Flowers. Charmaine, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm honored. So we connected just a little while ago, but you're around a lot. That's good.
I'm excited.
All right, just let me know how we can help. Watch your email closely. That's the key. We don't email a lot, but it'll be when things are happening, you need to know. That's when we email. All right. And let's check on another student here.
Thank you.
I know. Sister De Leon. Hi.
Good evening, Deacon Wilson.
Is Nico there?
Thank you for.
Is Nico there?
He's here. He's not in front of me, but I know he's on the phone.
Yeah, I think I see him down there.
I'm so glad for everything.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. I don't even remember how you found me, but whatever. How did you find me?
Alberta, Brinson Moore.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forget. I always forget how people find me. That's why it's funny. Let's ask Sister Brinson. Tony Brinson? Can you hear me? I forgot.
I'm here.
I forgot how you found me.
Oh, I found you through Tamerlan.
I won't forget again, I promise. Okay. It's like those Bible things, Janice begat Tamlin, who begat Tony. Hey Jay, what's up?
What's up?
I feel like I've been calling him all day, but just was an hour and a half. All right, I want to thank you all for coming. They'll be shorter after this. That's one of the longer ones. I'm gonna try to keep these things from 45 minutes to an hour. That was a longer one because I had a lot to tell you. You got a copy of the presentation. We certainly stop.